grab this and use it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I think I love that you did this both physically and mentally. I bet I guess you learned something. You had no idea. So, with your guys' size blocks, with your linoleum, you're not going to need a ton of ink. The cool thing about the ink though is you can put it back. All right? So you don't want to waste it. This for this size block, this is the, come look at this. This is the size amount of ink that you will need for your blocks. Symphony, you want to grab our block, your blocking card? I'll link that up first.
I haven't taken the paper.
That's okay, we'll make it work. I'm gonna do both, and then when we get to it, we're gonna do yours at the end. Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
So I'll do this, and then mixing the ink up before they use it, which probably does something. The argument is that the oils have been have separated a little bit. I don't know. I've done it both ways. I was trained to do it this way, but sometimes I just take it out and start using it. But there is some, I don't know. You get to kind of feel it. Work the oils back into the, so what it is there's pigment, there's like ground up black pigment mixed with oil. And the oil and pigment can separate. So you could theoretically get an uneven print maybe. Awesome. I think what I might do is we'll print it with the paper on it and then take the paper off when we clean it. So then, anybody watch like Bob Ross paint? What would he? You want to take like a bead of ink on your palette knife like this. And you just take it and you make it the width. It doesn't have to be the width of the roller. Because it doesn't need to be wider than the roller. And then you come in. And you get the roller. The main thing is to think about it being even across the whole roller. So go a couple different ways. Then all right, come over close, guys. Guys, come in. Come all the way in so you can see this. You ready? Get ready to do some oohs and ahs. See that? No, I need more ink. So you have to notice how many times did I do that? 2.5, and I needed more ink. How did I know? It was getting really dry. And I want it to be even across the whole thing. So I'm gonna go this direction. And then I'm gonna go this direction. So what I'm shooting for is having this whole thing be even. This is our buddy Piranesi. So the project the Symphony and I are working on is I want to celebrate the marks by different famous printmakers. So this is by Piranesi. He was a late Baroque artist, but he was kind of like a Renaissance man. He lived in Rome, and he's famous for, he made a series of prints called, I think it's called the, it didn't really have a name as a suite of prints, but he basically made prints that became posters, travel posters all over Europe and America, and people saw the ancient ruins of Rome and wanted to go see them. So he documented the ruins of Rome, ancient Rome. So it would have been 1700 years beforehand, right? Old stuff. And he made prints, etchings and engravings. So this is a zoomed in area of a Piranesi print it's to celebrate Piranesi. I'm gonna add a little more ink. Notice I'm taking my time. I'm not trying to put too much ink on at once. This MDF really absorbs the ink. if you were blind, you'd be a better printmaker in the beginning because you'd have to go off of feel and sound. And that's actually what you don't see, you're not aware of, is that I'm actually going off sound. You hear this? You hear this? I kind of want them to sound the same. No, it's weird. Then I know I have enough ink. Now I'm not pressing. The other thing that made it look like I'm literally just. How do you describe that? Like barely holding on. It's like golf. Anybody golf? You don't need to let the club do the work. Okay, isn't that cool? That was good. Good job. It was good. You made you happy? Isn't that fun to see it in black and white? Now we have to print it. What's the logical thing we need next?
Clean sheet.
What? We need some proving paper. Like, here's where it gets interesting. The printing is like the oven. How long do you want to cook it? 30 minutes? 40 minutes? Oh, I should have brought my
I was gonna ask.
It was like a weird looking thing. We call this a baron. You have to find yourself a baron. If you have an old wooden spoon at home, that works great. I'll bring in one. Oh, here we go. This is my go-to baron. Another can of ink. And you just need something that's smooth and flat. Because you don't want it to be small, like, right, and sharp, because it'll tear your paper, and it'll actually do things. You want it to be flat. Does it make sense? So I'm gonna go back to the question. How do you know it's done? How do you know when you're done?
You're gonna look.
You look. Ding, 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 ding. Like Christmas. I still say, how do you know you're done? Is that what I want? Is that what we want? Is it? Yes, no? Is it, maybe it's too dark. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if I don't like this? What if it's too black? The tendency is to think that it has to be black, but who's to say that black is right? So let's do another one and see if we like it. Let's try it a different one. We'll ink it up the same exact way. Notice that I go two directions. I'm gonna do that so that it gets even. Because what will happen if you just go one direction, you might see the edge of the roller on your print. But that's not a bad thing. That's just seeing the edge of the roller on the print. Oh my gosh. I saw there was a print over at International Market Square. Have you guys ever been over there with like all these interior design shops? And they sell art with their furniture, right? And there was these etchings on the wall, and one of the etchings had a huge goober hanging off the edge of it because the woman used so much pressure that all the ink pushed like this and squirted out the end. Which in printmaking, if you're a printer printing for somebody else, that's a mistake. But if you're printing for yourself, you could say, I like it. So she obviously said, I like it. Frame it. It was funny. So, but there's some control involved. And notice I'm not taking up much space. I would really encourage you to not use much more space than this, because can you guess why? Not because it's wrong. It takes forever to clean up. Like if you make a bigger thing, it takes twice, 3 times as long to clean up. It's gonna ink up better. This looks sweet, Symphony. In full disclosure, I didn't finish mine, I forgot. But I have this one, does that count? No? Okay, let's do something totally different. No brayer, just hand. Shoot, come look, go look. What does that mean? That one looks better. I guess my hand.
It's not as blocked up.
If not, yeah. is something that has a little bit more like zing to it, right? There's two reasons why. The block's printing better, and it's even. It's not like I didn't, like sometimes using pressure with another tool creates too much pressure. Now, maybe that's the finished print. Is that the finished print? Look at this, we're starting to see the paper. These three are ghost prints.
Yep.
Was this one a ghost print too?
No.
So these were inked up, these are ghost prints.
Yep.
I don't know much farther we could go, but this is kind of a cool look, don't you think? So the question is again, how do you know you're done? I like to clean the palette knives and the razor blade and the slab before I even touch my brayers. That was intentional. Can anybody guess why? It just seems to be the best order of things. Like I told you at the beginning, it's just one way of doing it. There's maybe a better way, but I've discovered in my shop, in my time cleaning brayers, just easier to do at the end because it's less stuff to deal with, right? One more favor. Another paper towel with a little water on it. All right. So a little paper towel. Now you can come in with elbow grease. Remember I told you that this ink is soluble in water and solvent, but I have not touched any solvents out of it. You can clean up just by elbow grease. So I don't, it's not good to use solvents long term. Now water we can use, but the problem is it kind of spreads it too. So if I were to use water in any like extreme amount, it would spread the ink. So I like to use elbow grease. I don't know what was here before me, because this isn't like a perfect palette, but maybe what we could do is remind me next week to put a new piece of paper underneath that so it looks perfect. So if you put a clean piece of paper below it, and I get a new piece of plexiglass, it looks perfect, and then you can see what you got everything. Thank you very much. So now, a little bit of water. Notice I still haven't done the brayers yet. This gets the film off. Can you have me a dry piece of paper towel? So, you see why I like to clean up 20 minutes before the end of anything? I would do the same thing in your life. Like if you come in here on a weekend and you gotta get to work, start cleaning up 20 minutes before you gotta leave, because it takes longer than you think. I mean, cleanup is taking longer than printing. Like printing is a pain in the ass, guys, because it's all cleaning. Carving, cleaning, printing, cleaning, it's all cleaning. It's like everything's booked in with cleaning, right? Notice I have not cleaned my block. Can you guess why? What would happen if I tried to clean my block? The ink could go down into the marks I carved and I wouldn't see them anymore. And that would be a bummer when you go to fix it, because you can't see where you're going. So in the beginning, until it's perfect, once the block gets perfect, then we can make it messy. Right? If I go in a rag and clean this up, the ink's gonna go below the surface, so I purposely don't clean this. I'm just gonna print it the way you clean your block. Notice I haven't done the brayers yet. You have to clean your block too, but you wanna, so one way you could do is like, okay, I'm done. Put a piece of newsprint on it, put it in your flat file. Protect it from don't get ink on anything. Another way you can do it is just come in and print it until almost all the ink's off. Right? So that's done. Now the brayer. Brayer. Newsprint. See this? I'm gonna bring in a catalog. It's called a Uline catalog. They sent it to me today. It's like this thick. We'll use it for this.